Welcome, everybody, to the X1 Bros. This is your positive gaming and Xbox community. Thank you, everybody who is joining us live. If you're listening in, this is our weekly show. We are coming at you a day early. We've got the member show right after this. If you're not live and you want to see the member show, it's member exclusive for our members only. Become a member over at youtube.com/X1 Bros. Support the show. Get some sweet, sexy X's. Some amazing emotes, badges. That's what they're called, badges. With some amazing emotes as well. You get some custom emotes as well. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in live. Rate, review, and subscribe to us, and also like us. Like this video if you haven't yet. It also helps us out. It's been a great week. It's been a big week. Before we get into it, though, I do want to talk. I had my Madden match today. Yeah. And I want to shout out the one and only Bofa. He's actually live in chat. I played against him today. He was Washington. I was USC. It was a big Big Ten match. And it was intense, man. It was raining. Jordan saw a little bit of it. Yeah. It was raining. It was intense. I threw a couple interceptions, but in the end, I was able to pull out the win. But it was a lot of fun. This league's a lot of fun, guys. Yeah, really if you want to play in it, come join us. We're almost to the end of season 1 here. We're getting ready to the playoffs. And I've not checked with Soul Finder. Soul Finder, if you're in, you can let us know. Did I say Madden? It's college football.
Yeah.
Or did I say
we know what you mean.
NCAA?
No, I think you said Madden or something.
I probably said Madden. Sorry. It's college football, everybody. Yeah. Happy Mayo's in there. He's Alabama. He's ranked. Is he ranked 1? He's either ranked 1 or 2 right now. That son of a bitch. But yeah, come join us. It's a ton of fun. Soul Finder is running it. We're ending season 1. George's really looking forward to season 2, where he can totally redeem himself.
Yeah.
There were some mishaps season 1. You're looking to get, you know what you got to do now is just focus on recruiting.
Yeah.
You got to recruit. Have you done anything with recruiting?
Yeah.
Very nice. But yeah, that's it. And shout out to Bofa. This is his first time watching live, everyone. He told me he's never caught us live. So welcome, Bofa. Thank you. He played from Starlink.
Oh,
he played our match
I respect
from Starlink.
that.
Yeah.
That's good. Nice.
Yeah. Very
Starlink's amazing.
I think he's in Montana, like on vacation or something, or somewhere like that.
Yeah.
So
cool. Internet from space.
Internet all around us. Can we talk Space Marines too? Warhammer.
Yeah.
40,000. Warhammer. Is it 40,000 or 40K?
Well, they both
mean
the
same thing. But
what is the common,
40K?
Doesn't matter.
Okay. Warhammer 40K. Space Marines 2.
I would say generally that would be acceptable in every place you go to.
Yeah, last week we all dropped $100 on it, which means $300.
According to Steam, so did 33,000 other people.
133,000 other people did as well after we did. Yeah, of course. We set the trend. Hashtag trendsetters all day, baby. All day. Yeah. And Spicy, would love to get your initial thoughts, impressions, then Jordan the man, and then we'll end with myself. I beat the main campaign, so I'll anchor it up. But Spicy, what'd you think? Space? Should we bring up gameplay of it while we talk? I'll explain everybody a little bit. This did drop this week. We paid $100 for early access, and you were able to play like 6 days early or 7 days early, something like that. And so we jumped in. We played over the weekend. We played actually right after last week's show and did a couple levels together. And then I hit it hard over the weekend. But Spicy, thoughts, impressions, Space Marines 2.
Generally favorable. I'll say give my, it's generally positive review from me. It's basically for me, it was a lot of big sweaty men getting the job done. And I respect that a lot. I think it reminds me a lot of Gears. I would put it's just very Gears for me. Minus, the iconic Gear weapons, I guess. Yeah. But it's the third person, the beautiful game. It's a very, very pretty game. A lot of action, a lot of stuff like that. I was not a fan of the button schemes, as when I was playing with you guys, I complained a lot. Why?
I mean, not that you did complain a lot, but I agree with you.
Yeah. I am still. how much time I put in? 3 hours of this game. How long did we play together?
Probably 3 hours.
Yeah, 3 hours. And I haven't had time to go back to it. I know you hit it hard, David, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I did the first 2 hours seemed very the same, but then I started to unlock abilities, which I really thought was a big win. Granted, I feel like I had the characters have like super abilities like ultimates. I feel like mine was the worst one out of all of ours.
Yours was like find the characters.
Yeah, it was
like,
yeah,
the radar,
highlight people. I felt like that was not very good for my play style anyway. And then I started like unlocking like jetpacks and stuff in the game, which made it made it a lot of fun. I really liked the verticality once you get jetpacks and stuff like that. So, generally favorable. I would get, if I were to give it a number, I'd give it like an 8.4.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I don't know if it's game of the year by any means, but it was very fun to play with you guys. And there's just something nice about just being a 12-foot tall,
testosterone laden.
Yeah. Jim Raynor.
Superhuman.
I mean, you're cosplaying as Jim Raynor.
Yeah.
You know, from StarCraft.
Or is Jim Raynor cosplaying as the Space Marines?
Yeah,
That's true.
It depends on what. Yeah, it's probably the same universe. Let's be real. But it's awesome. You're men, and you're just going in there, and you're just getting the job
blowing
done.
stuff up, baby.
Yeah, shooting stuff. What do you mean? Let's do the right to start up the computer. And I really like the universe itself is a very cool universe. I really, really enjoy the 40K universe and how it's like the Imperium and how you're like kind of like religious soldiers in a way.
Yeah.
And the way you discuss with your squad mates and stuff. It's a really cool story to get into.
Yeah, it made me want to get into the story. That like religion, like Roman religious.
Yeah.
Roman legion religious sci-fi aspect is really cool.
And everyone's terrified of being treasonous, but at the same time, you gotta talk about the elephant in the room. You know what I mean? Like it's like everyone talks to each other kind of like on eggshells. You know, you're walking on eggshells. You're feeling people out. Be like, okay, the death squad. Okay, I hear you did that. You know, it's a good story. So that's what I would put it at as a person who's played this for 3 hours ish or so.
How about you, Jordan? You've gone in and done a few more levels, correct?
Yeah, I'm almost done with the final mission.
Oh, did you start the final mission or? Final mission. By the way, everybody, when you get to that final mission, so there's 6 missions in total.
Well, I feel like you can tell, like, they built everything up for the final mission.
They really did. Set aside 2 to 2.5 hours for that final mission.
Yeah, it is. Well, and take your time with it because it's fun. Like, don't rush through it.
Yeah,
it's
don't
really
rush through
cool.
it.
So I'm about
Super
halfway
cool.
through it. Hopefully, it saves my progress. I've had issues where I would log out, like, because each mission will probably, on average, take an average player maybe an hour.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is if you don't have an hour, you're playing, and you're like, oh, shoot, I got to go.
As long as you get to a checkpoint.
Yeah. Now, I've had issues. I haven't had it the last time I loaded up, but I have had issues where I would log out of the game and I'd load back in and I'd have to start the whole mission over. But I've also had it where I've logged back in. I'm like, oh, good. I'm right where I left
Yeah,
off.
because sometimes if you have to start over, it's...
I don't know if that was a bug and maybe they resolved it, which is why I
There
had
was
it
a
over
patch
the
today.
weekend, but I haven't
didn't
had
see
it
what
this
the
week.
patch was today. I wonder if they addressed that. I'll look while you talk.
But no, I think this game is great. And if no other game does it for me, this probably will be game of the year for me.
Oh, really? Okay.
As of right now, what other games came out this year that have been just the thing about
For
this
me,
game?
Hellblade 2.
The thing about this game, I think this is better than Hellblade 2. Because
do you consider an Elden Ring DLC a release?
No. I mean, Elden Ring DLC was fine and good, but no, like a full game. You know, we don't count expansions.
Okay, that's fair. Okay.
So.
Man up.
Yeah.
Spicy.
No, this game, it's fun. They nailed the feel and vibe of the Warhammer universe. I'm not going to say I'm like the biggest Warhammer fan. I've painted a few of the things, and I have a basic understanding of my army that I have. But they've nailed the vibe. It's so good. The game is pretty. I play on the 60 frame mode because we're playing on Xbox. It runs smooth. The gameplay works. I mean, I know I've seen some criticisms of the gameplay loop can get repetitive. That may be the case, but for me, not yet. I mean, maybe 100 hours from now, maybe. But for me, I'm still loving it. I'm still enjoying it. The gameplay loop, I'm not going to say it's just like Doom, but it has a similar feel to Doom, where you have shields and health. the only way to get your health back is through like stim packs and whatever.
Yeah.
Shields you can regenerate all the time. So the idea is you want to keep your shields up and not let them hit your health. So just like in Doom where you like do glory kills to get ammo, same with this. You essentially do a quote, it's an execute, but it's basically a glory kill and it recharges your shield. So there's that loop of gameplay for it, which I've been really enjoying. I think the story is good for what it is. It's interesting, it's intriguing. There was a few twists and turns, there's been a few twists and it's just fun.
Yeah.
And who'd have thought? You make a fun game,
Who'd have thought?
it would be good. And the world is so good. Like when you walk out, I think it was mission 3 where it hit me, because mission 1 and 2, you're kind of in a jungle and this and that. And you kind of get to see the spectacle and the scale of things going on in the background. But I think it was like mission 3 where you walk out and you're in this like, would you call it like a space city? But there's there's these huge like Gothic style towers. Like the scale is unreal in this game.
I'd call it a sci-fi temple.
And then after
It was a cathedral. It literally was a cathedral.
Yeah, and it's just the scale. And then after that, there's I like in the later missions, not so much the first 2, but in the later missions, there's almost these parts where they're kind of trying to tell you story through the environment, which I like.
Yeah.
So there's this one mission where it's right at the beginning actually, where you're walking through I believe it's the militarm. It's just the general military. I'm not like caught up on my 40 hammer.
Yeah.
So, but it's just the general military. It's the dudes that die.
Yeah,
right.
it's
Like and
the
the dudes
grunts.
that and they
The
like
grunts.
bow to you when you walk.
Oh, that's one of the best.
What's really
parts.
cool is you're placed in this base and you're walking through and there's this guy on a big, huge tank and he's like giving a speech and you're like, yeah, all right, cool. All right. And then you're walking by and you see these soldiers being executed for treason, which is the deserters, which is considered treason. Like
That's at the Space Cathedral.
Yeah, it's a very
Well, then
grim, dark game, but they embrace like it nails the feels. Like 40 Hammer is not a happy universe.
No, not
And
at all.
and it is like it's religious fanaticism is what this is, like, for the Imperium, for the Empire, for all you like it's religious fanaticism, and it doesn't shy away from showing it, which I like.
These are the Crusaders.
Yeah.
Of space.
Yeah. So, but it's
on that scene,
super fun, and I've also gotten to play competitive multiplayer, and I did do the first mission of the PvE. Can I just say competitive multiplayer? I was expecting absolutely nothing from
Shat.
it.
Expecting shat.
But it's stupid fun.
It's more awesome.
Yeah, it's like oh,
Bro.
hey, that was actually kind of fun.
In PvP,
I can sit like you could come home from the gym one day and be like, hey, you text the bros
Spicy.
and say, hey, like,
In
you guys want to play a
PvP,
couple rounds
yeah. In PvP,
of Space Marine?
in PvP, your ability is actually really valuable. So in
That would,
PvP,
in PvP, it would make sense because it
yeah.
gives you information where people
Yeah.
are.
but I went for the tank character, the tank class, so I could drop a shield in PvP. So the dude I was with, we dropped his thing. We could see all the guys around the corner. I dropped my shield. We pop out, get some sweet kills. I got some sword kills, some chainsaw kills in PvP. PvP is actually... So what's funny is Jordan and I were talking, oh, this may be like Gears. PvP won't be that great. Nope. It's really good.
And we say, I mean, it's Gears in the sense that it's like
Over the shoulder.
it's a third-person shooter with big dudes.
well,
yeah.
I mean,
But like, because there's no cover mechanic or anything like that. But
but I mean, like the atmosphere is.
oh yeah, it's very
very
like
Gears.
original Gears. Very dark, dreary. The world's gonna end.
And the Swarm?
And there's this one scene, and this is just. I feel like this was a game that was just written for me. Because
It speaks to you, huh?
Yeah, well, there's this scene, and it may be just because I'm tired of like modern stories.
Yeah.
So there's
Okay.
this scene throughout the game, like David was saying, or Mark, I don't know who was saying it, like, but there's you kind of have to test people out, right? You're like, well, why are you doing that? We don't do,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that plays a part in the story, and one of your squad mates is suspicious of you.
Yeah.
And he's suspicious of you throughout the game. There's this one scene where something comes out and your squad mate just goes after you, and it's a cutscene. It's not gameplay. It's a cutscene, and then
It's a
something
really good-
happens, and the truth is revealed. And you go through a boss fight, and then there's another cutscene afterwards, and your character. And this is how I know it's written for me. Because your character he goes up to this dude and he goes, and this guy's like, you don't mess with this guy. Like, he can crush your skull with his hand. He goes up to this other character and he goes, look, I get why you did that. Don't do it again. And then he walks away. And it was like, he understands. We don't need to talk about it for 5 levels.
They're men.
Hey, I get it. Don't do it again.
Don't ever do that again.
And the other guy was like, all right. Like, it was just, everything was mutually.
Believe his response
everybody was mutually understood. Everything was mutually understood.
Brother.
Yeah, everything was like mutually understood. And it was like, thank that, yes. Like, I feel like this game was written for me.
Yeah, so that scene that you're talking about, Jordan, and this isn't a spoiler because it's like a little side. No, it's a little side.
Anytime he says that, get nervous, everybody.
Yeah. The scene that Jordan's talking about where you're watching these guys get executed, and not everybody, you could easily miss it. It's just something happening in the world around you.
Yeah. You can
Because
just run
they
through it
were
if you want.
because they were traitors. So if you stand there,
Oh, yeah, no, I watched them. They die.
Yeah, they die, and then did you stand there after that?
No,
You can wait. There's a rinse and repeat that happens.
Oh, so
and
they do bring the other, because I was
They
walking
bring the other guy,
past.
and the other guy. There's the other guy like, please no.
Yeah, he goes.
No, I'm sorry.
He tries to ask forgiveness. So when
Forgive me.
I watched the execution, and then I walked away, and the guy basically was asking the emperor for forgiveness.
And they murder him.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
It's really cool.
Hey, don't desert.
It's
Right?
really cool.
Like it's written in the codex.
So
all right.
Spicy gives it. Did you say an 8.5 ish?
No, 8.4.
8.4?
Yeah, 8.4, I would say.
Jordan the Man. This as of right now could be your game of the year.
Yeah,
It's in
yeah.
contention.
Like if I were to give it a grade, for me, it's a 9 or an A- for me. Like my only complaints, I guess, would be that there's about 10 different control schemes and none of them change anything.
None of them are standard.
Yeah,
that is the
it
one.
changes like A and B 5 different times, and it's like, well,
Yeah.
that's not what I want to change. I shouldn't compare. Well, actually, I am. When another game does something right, I do think the industry should take that and implement it to their game.
Yeah.
In
Like
this
pinging,
case,
like pinging.
yeah. In this case, why can't I rebind my own keys? That was like one of the. I went in. I was like, oh, I'll just rebind my own keys. They don't let you do that. They have like 7 different control schemes, and I was going through all of them, and they always just switch like 2 things.
Yeah.
And it's like, I was like, what?
Why?
Like why even have them?
The ability is there in the Xbox dashboard.
Yeah, but I know, and I could have done that.
it just takes a lot of time. It's
Yeah. But it's that stuff that I'm complaining. Like I said, I had the checkpoint issues earlier this week. I haven't had that in a while, but this game.
There was a patch. I don't know.
And here's the thing: they're coming out with new content. We do have the season passes. We got the whatever edition, and every part of this game I enjoy playing.
Well, now I'm excited to go back and do the operations with you guys.
Yeah.
Because those now we're playing through the support squad side
And that's
story
you're getting to level up your other
of what's
characters
happening
and stuff.
while you level up, your other characters, your other classes, because you would level up class by class. That's how it works. So yeah, I'm with Jordan. This to me, it's I don't know if it's game of the year, but it's in running for it.
Can I talk about that? Why Jordan was talking when he said it was game of the year? I went back and looked at the games of this year.
Yeah.
It's been a pretty dry year.
So far, we got a lot of heavy hitters coming out in the next few months.
If we excluded, like DLCs, because the DLCs were phenomenal. There were a lot of DLCs that were really good.
Shadow of the Erd Tree came out this year,
and do you consider like Rebirth a DLC or what is?
Well, I guess I've you guys have slowly convinced me over the past 2 years, because I used to think Final Fantasy VII Remake shouldn't be game of the year because it's just retelling the same thing. But you have slowly chipped away at me to think, well, like, it is kind of a new game.
It is. It's yeah.
But
I would say different actors, different. Well, not so they're the same act. The people, but it's like a new engine, a new everything.
Yeah.
Anyways, but what I was saying is, if we exclude like that kind of game and DLCs and all that, there hasn't been a lot of. I mean, we got Star Wars Outlaws.
I have my thoughts on that.
Which I would not say that's.
I've played both these games basically side by side, Space Marine and Outlaws.
For me, it's between this right now and the other game that has a very similar vibe to this in a different way is Hellblade 2. I think Hellblade 2,
Hellblade 2
is similar in this respect. And I did a review on my channel, X1 the Gamer, go check it out. But what I talked about there is they both have this similar thing in common. Totally 2 different types of games with different types of gameplay. But what they have in common is it's about a 10-hour main campaign, and then there's stuff to do after that. So totally doable. But it's very linear, and and because of that, the set pieces, the environments created in each of these is mind-boggling. There are, in the later levels, Spicy, when you get to them, in the later levels, when you will walk out, Jordan talked about that cathedral level. The cathedral level is one of the most impressive levels.
Yeah, and it, like
And
visually,
level designs.
this game is really pretty.
And then wait till you get to the last level. There are
Just
multiple
the
set pieces
sequences,
like that.
yeah.
And you're fighting the swarm, and then you're looking off in the distance, and it's a battle raging
Oh yeah.
on, and it just immerses you. It's this cinematic experience. For instance, Jordan played at 60 frames per second. I played at 30 frames per second because I wanted the 4K. I played in high fidelity, in the fidelity mode, and I don't feel like I missed out on anything. In fact, Jordan on my TV, especially Jordan Man came in and checked it out on my television and was like, "Whoa, it is breathtaking." And I think actually, Space Marine, Hellblade, I think we're actually going to start reverting to this. I instead of like massive open world 100-hour plus games, not even open world, because Persona, for instance, is not necessarily open world, but is just really, really long. And while fantastic, one of a kind generational type of game and series, that may be 100 hours to complete the main campaign may just be too long for people. This is totally doable.
Well, just when you said that to me earlier, because we were talking about it, I would just think of a lot of like your favorite games. I was thinking about it because there was you had mentioned it, and then I saw some tweets talking about like people really enjoyed like, hey, this was just a nice 10-hour campaign. Like a lot of people are praising it for that. Some of my favorite, like look at Halo 1, 2, and 3. They're all 6 to 10 hour campaigns.
Well, what 10 hours does...
Look at like the first Mass Effect. I played that through the Mass Effect collection. I beat it in about 10, 15 hours. Like it's just... Some of the best games out there aren't these.
I think it's because there's no fluff.
Yeah.
There's no
like
fluff.
Everything is there for
There's
a purpose.
no fluff in a game like this.
There is none.
It's just getting the job done.
It's just getting the job done. But it's refreshing, and it's one of those games that makes... I said this about Hellblade as well earlier this year. It's a game that reminds you why you love video games.
Yeah.
That's what this does. And I will say, I do think it actually set the bar now pretty high for Gears 6. Gears 6 has to at least match this.
Well, I would. So I'll just say it. Maybe people will disagree with me, but Gears 1 through 3 have a different feel than Gears 4 and 5. Like just like the vibe of the game is different. This Space Marine vibe reminds me of like Gears 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Like 1, 2, and 3. Like it's
gritty.
yeah, like
Raw.
I like the idea of like especially in Gears, like, dude, humanity's losing.
Yeah.
Like the reason you need to be a tree trunk of a dude is because we're losing.
Yeah.
You know, the reason you can't complain that this guy put you in jail for 10 years is because we're losing. Like I like that from a story, like talking about Marcus Phoenix, right? He's when he broke out of jail, did he sit there and complain? He says, no, there's work to be done.
He got in his armor and got it done.
And then he got a hot babe by the end of the trilogy. You know?
Yes, he did.
Yeah. And what a cool way to introduce
Respectable gentleman.
Yeah.
Respectable.
That's like, okay, I'm just gonna, so we're getting into spoiler territory of the first of Gears games. I'm actually sad that Anya was not in the later games, because I think she was a really cool character. In the first game, she's basically just in your ear at the beginning and the end of missions. In the second game, that's obviously like when they flesh out the story a little bit more, because they're like, oh shoot, this made money. So they flesh out the story a little bit more, so you get to know a lot. Like you get to know like Hoffman and Anya and all these different characters better. And then number 3, because humanity's losing, everyone's got to fight. Like, hey, put on the armor, let's do it.
Yeah.
And I was really sad that, because I really like the de-armoring scene at the end of Gear. Again, written for me. Like just
Are you talking about where he goes to like the beach
yeah,
and takes
and
off
he
his
rips off his chest plate, and then
takes off
Anya
his
comes up.
headband thing?
Anya comes up and she is there with him, and you're like, that's a love story right there.
Yeah.
You know, like that just again written for me.
Love forged through battle.
Yeah. And then like I was really
experienced.
I was really sad that she was mentioned obviously, but she wasn't in the other two, because she died of, I think she had cancer anyway.
Syphilis.
Yeah, I don't know what.
One of those diseases makes me laugh, and one of those makes me sad. I can let you know.
Syphilis.
Yeah. So, but like this obviously it's different. Like, you know, humanity is. I think in Warhammer you can almost argue that humanity are the bad guys.
Yeah.
But is there any really good guys in Warhammer? I don't know. But
It's
it's
true.
it's this vibe like this. I think that's why it reminds you because it's got that grit.
I just think
story.
This did it correct. It's tight. It's as long as it needs to be. There's no fluff. The set pieces are what's really set this apart. And so Gears 6 has to. This is a high bar for Gears 6. It's going to be interesting, and I have faith that they'll be able to do it, no doubt. But this is a very good game. And thoroughly enjoyed it.
And can we just say, you told me this week, David, that you want to get into the lore. Mark was asking about books last week. Look what media can do when it's good. Like we were talking about, like Fallout the Fallout TV show raised the rest of the franchise up.
Yeah.
This Warhammer, you know how many like reviewers that I watch on YouTube or people that I follow on Twitter are like, oh man, I want to go buy and paint miniatures now.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I want to know
one good medium can bring up the rest of the franchise. And
I
that's what
want
this
to
game
know
did.
the story. I want to know the lore behind these guys. Like, where did it all begin? Why is it like this? What is going on? Stuff like that. PNX, by the way, World in chat asks, do you need to play the first one? Is the first one related? So I never played the first one. There's definitely some Easter eggs that nod to the first one,
especially during that final stuff.
You can that are there that I know are. I don't know. I've not even gone and looked it up, but I can tell are a nod to the first one and tie into the first story. So you don't need to. I didn't play the first one and thoroughly enjoyed it, and feel like I'm caught up. But I think it just enhances the story that much more if you've played or know the story of the first one.
Yeah.
So, yep, I think it's really good. Excited to see you guys finish it. And Spicy is, I think, 4 campaigns away. Because this is actually the last campaign. Spicy and I did this one.
That's number 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 6 missions total.
Yeah, so
of the main
yeah.
story.
Yeah.
So, and then it would be cool to go back and do operations.
I feel like this game is harder with friends, which is a good thing. Because
I actually think it's easier with friends.
You do? Because
I think so a little bit too, because your friends can shoot.
Yeah, your friend, when you play with NPCs, which is how I finished this game, like they don't shoot that much.
Well, I will say I got no loot whatsoever.
Yeah,
I had no stim packs. I had no ammo.
That is the better thing with NPCs. It's like this give and take because you can hoard all the med packs, the stim packs,
because Jordan and David took it all. They slurped it up.
Well, what's interesting about like the stim packs and stuff, like a lot of it's off the beaten path. Like they're not.
I went there.
They're not in front of you. It's we just got there first.
I know because I was trying to play a ranged character because I had the ranged character abilities.
But in fairness, I think it's actually a pretty decent balancing act because when you're playing single player, yes, you get all of the like stim packs, for instance, but because your teammates suck, you actually need to use them more.
Okay.
Versus like when I'm playing with you guys, like we dominate in comparison to the NPCs. But
the only thing gameplay wise that I think they need to tighten up, at least for me, is I think the parry system feels not good.
Sometimes I felt like I was button mashing it.
Yeah, it was like the parry timing. And again, this is just coming from, but like here's the thing: like when other games do it good, it almost becomes an expectation in your mind. Coming from games, especially like from software games, or even just Souls-like games in general, where the parrying is usually very good,
tight. Yeah, it's precise.
Like it was weird. I could never. I mean, I would parry in certain situations fine, but I never felt like I got it down. Like what sometimes I'd miss, and I'd be like, well, why'd I miss? Like it just. It feels like it needs to be tightened up a little bit, but other than that,
yeah,
who
ton
cares?
of fun.
Yeah,
I highly recommend it. It's out. Go pick it up if you want 10 hours. Actually, it's more than 10 hours because then there is this like level up your character system. There's PvP system built in, and then there's also a PvE operations system that allows you to go back, and that's how you level up your characters.
This game, in my opinion, is worth the $60 price tag that it has.
100%. I agree. I agree with that. I really, especially once you beat the game, I even watched all the credits. There's actually a nod.
Yeah,
to the credits.
that was
to
really,
Cynical Brit.
That was really cool. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
Super cool. Yeah, there you go. I do want to shout out. Let's take some super chats here. We got one from T-Bucks, who became a wingman. Again, re-upped his wingman status, tier 1 wingman. Took 46 months to figure out how to send membership messages. Here's to another 46 months. Love to the bros. T-Bucks, thank you very much for that super chat. Appreciate it. Let's talk about the PS5 Pro, because that's making the news. And I know Jordan the Man has some opinions on it. Spicy, I think, has some opinions on it, but I'll start with mine. I think it's a mistake by PlayStation. So for those of you that don't know, PS5 Pro dropped. The information dropped. The trailer dropped for it this week, or yesterday? It dropped yesterday, actually. And the price tag on that, and they showed off the features, what sets it apart. It is more powerful than the PS5. It's the PS5 Pro. It's $700 starting, up to $800 if you want the disc drive. That price point is way too high. Xbox is not countering with their own Xbox Pro, and I don't think they should. This is definitely targeted towards hardcore PlayStation fans.
Yeah.
I don't see anybody else jumping on this except for hardcore PlayStation fans. Even what they show off here, it's a nominal increase. And it's not even guaranteed 60 frames per second on all their games. They show off basically like it's more clear in the distance. Developers can now take advantage of more ray tracing. But for that price point in this generation where we already haven't, it doesn't feel like, I think the problem this generation is it doesn't feel like we've got anything that has really shown off. I would say Hellblade 2 has shown off the power of the console the best.
Well, I think God of War Ragnarok did a good job.
Maybe Forza and Gran
What was
Turismo
that?
have done pretty decent.
What was that game on PlayStation that they would change worlds really quickly?
Rift in Time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually, that's one of the games they show, and
showed
I
that
actually
off
have a
game
huge,
here, yeah.
that's actually one of my huge complaints.
Oh, what?
So one of my major complaints with the presentation.
This game right here. Yeah.
Is they're showing old games. It's fantastic that you can take a PS4 game and it runs phenomenal on a PS5 Pro. And I'm talking about, they showed off The Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
That game was designed for the PS4. I mean, it came out on the PS5 as well, but I mean, baseline was PS4 because it released on the PS4. When you're what they should have done is they should have showed off what does Space Marine look like on this. Show me a new mod or Outlaws, which by the way
They do show Outlaws at one point.
Oh, they did? Yeah. I didn't see Outlaws. I just saw all their old stuff.
But there's Control, for instance.
Yeah. I don't know. I felt like I didn't like that they showed old games.
Well, here's the thing, though. It is $700. I don't think Xbox needs to do this. I think it's very niche. I think it's a small market. I think PlayStation is just trying to sell more consoles here, for sure. I mean, they're already dominated the console thing. I think Xbox is going a new direction with Game Pass. I think, though, the only reason I think this was a mistake is because of marketing. I think this is one giant commercial for Game Pass in the respect that, holy crap, that's a lot of money. That buys me 5 years of Game Pass Ultimate subscription. And the only reason you can say that is because, to Jordan's point of they used old games to show off here.
Yeah, well, Control's an old game too.
Yeah, but
they were all old games.
But to that point, I think really the sentiment of that is it's nominal improvements. It's yes, it's nice to have, but it's not like, whoa.
Well,
look at this. Ready for this too? A lot of people have been saying, well, Grand Theft Auto 6, that's what I'm going to get this for, so I can crank it up and play Grand Theft Auto 6 on it for sure. That's how much I care about Grand Theft Auto 6. Come to find out today, Grand Theft Auto 6 is probably playing at 30 frames per second on this bad boy. So it's not even, doesn't even look like that's going to take advantage.
What's it playing on the rest of the stuff?
Yeah, so
that's actually not a good sign for everyone else either.
I just think it's for, and it's not knocking people who want this. If I've had the money and I was a hardcore PlayStation fan, I would get it myself. But that's it. I don't think you're bringing in any new people, and I think it is one giant commercial for Game Pass and the value of Game Pass. But that's my thoughts. Jordan the Man, you didn't like the old games? Anything else?
My only complaint is they're showing off old games. Like I want to see Space Marine. You said Outlaws was on there. I don't remember seeing it, but maybe it was.
Yeah,
I'll give you that. So, but like what they're trying to do, I like. Well, what I actually found really interesting is they talk about the performance. So the idea is there's performance mode and then quality mode is what we have. Yeah. They're trying to basically bridge the gap so you don't have to choose that mode. What was interesting is most people, I forget, he gives a percentage, but most people switch performance mode, which
makes sense
because it's just higher frames are always better, in my opinion. So, but what they're trying to do, because a lot of people are harping on the price tag, which is $700 for the discless base version, right? The base version $700. The thing is like this isn't marketed to this isn't the accessible console. Like that's not marketed. Yeah, this is for the enthusiasts, right?
Exactly
that's my first point. Like, okay, this is right now. I'm happy with my PS. I upgraded to the PS5 Slim, which I'm very happy with, and I probably will skip this one and just wait for the next one. You know, like I don't see me needing to get the PS5 Pro.
And so as a result. That's why. Do you think Xbox needs to counter with an Xbox?
No. I don't think you need.
No,
to.
I don't think so
Not
either.
right now. I think they're supposedly we're going to get announcements relatively soon about their next console.
They said holiday. Yeah.
Let that be your, because obviously Sony's probably working on a new console too. But anyway, so everybody's jumping on the price, which it is expensive. $700 is a lot of money, and that will deter a lot of people. But again, this isn't for everybody. And my only counter argument to that is what they're trying to do with basically making performance mode and quality mode combined, so you don't have to pick. So you're getting the high end graphics with that high end frame rate. I am sorry to say this, but that costs a lot of money and takes a lot of power. Even at $700. To my knowledge, as of today, when we're recording this, $700 cannot get you a PC that does what the PS5 Pro is going to do.
I agree.
Now,
everyone's saying like, I would just get a
fair,
PC. I mean, you're getting close to a decent PC, but it's not going to be able to do this.
To be fair, a while ago, Linus Tech Tips did a video where he tried to build a PC that matched the specs of like the Series X and stuff, and they did, but they did by cutting a lot of corners, and that's not your average,
Well, the other thing that people don't take into account is that what consoles do is they streamline it. And that includes the operating system. So when on a PC, the operating system, Windows 11 takes resources, and there's stuff like API callbacks, for instance, on consoles. Everything's just maximized to run as efficiently as possible. It's why on the Steam Deck, better experience as of right now, Steam Deck versus ROG Ally, because the Steam Deck is using its own operating system. Why? Because they can make everything much more efficient and streamlined for your gaming experience. So that's what you're paying for with a console and with like the PS5 Pro versus a computer.
That was my next point. For that, you're going to pay $700. You're literally going to take it out of the box and plug it into the wall, and that is it.
Yeah.
You are not going to get that with a PC, and even a pre-built PC, you're not going to get that streamlined because you're going to have to do a few things to optimize your PC. So, but no, I'm not offended by the price because, I mean, just compare it to a 40 series card. Those cards aren't for everybody. They're more enthusiast cards. They're incredibly expensive because they're incredibly powerful. Like, I understand everybody wants the best graphics and the best frame rates, but it costs a lot of money for these parts to do that. Yeah, I'm not offended by the price.
Yeah, I'm not offended by the price either. I just think, once again, it's a giant ass commercial for Game Pass.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely helps
the value,
Game Pass.
The value of Game Pass or GeForce Now. Spicy. Thoughts, impressions.
Yeah, I got a lot of thoughts. I think the price is bad. I think I know wealthy people, and a lot of them are very cheap wads.
Especially
why they're wealthy.
In today's economy.
Yeah,
that's why they're wealthy.
I think $700 for what you're getting. So the PS5 was 10.2 teraflops of power. This is approximately 17. We don't have too many specifics.
Isn't it like 45% is the number? Like
that's
45%
the number
better.
In this video, they do 45% better, and it costs 65% more. So it costs a lot more to get less, if that makes sense. So I think $700 I don't even know if this
But-
is too
but-
enthusiast.
But at that price point, compare like what they're delivering to you graphically and frame rate for that price point. Like a PC can't do that. At that
yeah,
price
but
point.
we're not comparing that. That's been the argument for just consoles in general,
Yeah.
and that's fine. We're comparing. Why should I get a PlayStation Pro?
Yeah.
Most people
to the
that are going to get
PlayStation
that.
Pro. To the PlayStation 5, sorry.
Yeah, PlayStation 5 Pro. Yeah, exactly. Most people that are going to get this probably already have
A PlayStation.
a PlayStation
Yeah,
5.
yeah.
So it's
So why? Yeah, I get what you're saying. Why?
why
Yeah.
the argument of consoles. Yeah, that's how they all are, and that's why you get one of the reasons you get consoles. But is this? Oh, here, let's replay it. But I think that price is just too high.
Well-
I think that's the problem. If it was maybe $649, that feels a lot better.
Well, listen to
than
this.
$700.
Listen to this. The difference, because PlayStation 4 had a Pro as well. The
Yeah.
PlayStation 4 OG launched at $399. The PlayStation 4 Pro, when it dropped, any takers on any guesses on what the price point was?
It was $400.
It was $399. It was the same price as the Pro, and I think that's the sticker shock here. Is that
The shit sticker shock.
the yeah?
Well,
is that it's it's more expensive than past Pros.
Well, one could argue the mistake that the PlayStation 3 had was its price point at $599.
Yep.
I think when it released.
Yep.
And it was like, what? Okay, well, I already have the Xbox is way cheaper. I get that, and that was probably the weakness of the PlayStation 3.
It was $599. Yep.
Yeah.
For OG.
So this is the price point is a huge deal, and I think they were $50 too much. I think you just if you
Well, there's a psychology to that too. Like that feels like because you think $50, that's not that bad, but there's a psychology to seeing that $700, basically $700.
yeah, it's
number.
it's $750 with tax. At a 6.5 tax. I think that's a mistake. The thing that I really liked about this, though, I have some positives. I am a huge fan of Mark Cerny. He's
he's actually a legend.
like
he's actually
the first time.
Yeah.
Do you remember when they were announcing the PlayStation 5 and I think we laughed on the show. He reminds me of Dana Carvey.
yeah, I think I remember that.
And I actually did not know at the time who he was, and I think it's so smart. He doesn't work for Sony. He's a consultant for Sony.
Yeah.
He speaks fluent Japanese, and he was on, I think he started on Atari in 1982 when he was 17. The guy is a legend, and I really do appreciate that Sony gets this guy to explain some very difficult things
Yeah.
to a mass audience. So
Yeah.
if you guys want to look up what he's done, do it. Mark
mean-
Cerny, and I'm a big fan of
an
this guy.
example of Sony has always crushed marketing.
Yeah.
And so using something like this to explain is a marketing.
And his voice is so soft spoken. And it's just, I know I joked originally, but I became a big fan of him once I realized who he was
and
what he
he's
does.
done for everyone.
For gaming.
Yeah, just in general. Yeah.
So props to Sony for getting this guy to be kind of like a spokesperson to bridge the gap between Japanese technicality and English understanding.
yeah, common layman.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't know who this is for.
Hardcore PlayStation.
yeah,
guys.
it's targeted towards your
But
hardcore
it's
PlayStation.
it is so, and to your point, Jordan, when we're talking about, like the power of the console, getting that box at such a price point versus a PC at that price point, that's going to go away. I feel like it's already going away because we have the NVIDIA gaming solution for $20 a month. You get GeForce Now. You get cloud gaming that has no latency that can do that for $20 a month.
Yeah,
you can be on a Chromebook.
Well, yeah, no, that and that's like one of the reasons. Like I'm not gonna buy this.
Yeah, so the argument is going away where it's getting that power for that price. I don't think is going to exist anymore once NVIDIA their solution goes mainstream.
I think in a rare move, Xbox has made the right move by not
Sometimes just do nothing.
We heard earlier that they weren't going to chase this. Phil Spencer says no, we have no plan for a refresh, no Pro, anything like that. In December, we will hear more about the next gen console, and I think we're going to hear more also about a complementary handheld as well. That definitely seems, as well as PlayStation is doing. But I do think the generation hasn't given us enough yet. I mean, that's a comment of both consoles this generation so far. Overpromise, underdeliver has been the mantra here on both of these consoles so far. You know, we were promised 4K 60.
Well, the wording was capable of.
Yeah, but haven't really matched that yet. There's been one or two games that are really, showy type. Hellblade would be one of them. I think Hellblade is the game actually on either console that really showed off the potential there. But we've not yet reached that stage, and so for PS5 Pro to already launch at that price without showing it, I understand Xbox logic now of not doing it. And they don't need to.
I wonder, because if Xbox supposedly we're going to get some information either at the end of this year is what they said, right? Or what we're looking at.
Holiday.
So, and you got to think, when you're announcing a new console, you're probably, a year to a year and 5 months out from releasing
I'd say
it?
2 years.
2 years? You really think they would announce it that early?
We could look it up. Yeah, I would say 2 years.
I feel like that feels like a long time.
I just remember maybe it felt like 2 years. Growing up, every time I heard the new console, like the Nintendo 64, when I heard that and I saw pictures in the Nintendo Power magazine, and I'm like, oh, look at those curves.
In those days, you had to factor in shipping.
The centerfold, where you're looking at the curved corners of the Nintendo 64.
We could fly at supersonic speeds now. Things can get to my house in hours.
And then a week before launch, for some reason, like I think it was Kmart released it early, and I'm like, everybody's like, okay, we're just releasing the consoles now, and I'm like, I don't have the money, I don't know, and I was blown away going to my friend's house and seeing Zelda and all that. Oh man.
Yeah, we'll say Lady Blah Blah which is a great name by the way, makes a great point here in chat. She says, I'm thinking of selling my PS5. Oh no, sorry. She says, sorry. Lady Blah Blah says PS4 mid-gen I had played 30 games. PS5 mid-gen I've played 10 games. And that is really the difference here.
That's kind of like that relates to what we were talking about earlier, how there hasn't been a lot. I feel like this is kind of a dry year so far as
it's like everything's getting built up for both. It's almost like we could have had one more year or 2 more years of the previous generations build up this back library, and it's like we should be launching the Xbox Series X and the PS5 now.
Well, I think that's the reason that is the case is, we see the data that they released earlier this year, like 8 months ago. Most people play 7 or longer year-old games.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
And that's because they're live service games. You have all these games that are like that.
Yeah, it's a challenge.
And so to get new releases is far and few between, because people are going to, they're going to play them. We're looking at Hogwarts, for example, that was just shown while we're watching. And people played that for a month, but then what do they go back to? They go back to Fortnite. They go back to the Overwatch. They go back to Apex. They go back to PUBG. They go back to games.
There's so many
that
options.
They're 7 years old.
Yeah.
So I think that's just this is a symptom, having, you only play 10 games, because those are your games, the games you like that they continuously update.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know.
Yeah, it's just, there's a reason we're living through this adjustment, and I think the future is bright, but this is definitely, I think, the apex of, there's been these huge successes. Consoles has gotten us to this really crazy cool point that we're at right now. And now there's this need for adjustment, and we're living through the midst of that adjustment via technology. We're kind of in no man's land, in that it's never been done before, and we're just waiting for these new things to drop, and these new ways to, like Game Pass, like cloud gaming, GeForce Now. These new ways, how they are going to affect how we play games. Make no mistakes, it's going to look entirely different in the next 5 years.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is if we could switch gears. There's been a lot of Twitter conversation over it, and it's been pretty funny. Like, it's been pretty good. There's been some interesting comments. I don't know if you've seen them. Let me give you one real quick.
That's the first Star Wars. Sorry, I thought that was Outlaws.
Oh yeah. Don't make me feel like I don't know what I'm talking about.
We're watching gameplay loops.
Yeah, it's all old games.
Yeah.
So that was my only criticism, though. Like,
Twitter? No?
oh yeah, Twitter. So one of the things I saw was a PlayStation podcast, and to be fair, the guy that said this, his friends did kind of make fun of him.
I respect that.
Yeah,
When I say stupid stuff, you guys make fun of me.
yeah, but
and we do the same.
he said that this can do. I'm paraphrasing, but the gist of it is
I actually did see
this is as powerful and can do things the 4090 cannot do. And I was like, the
replies were screenshots of the 4090 with the AMD, whatever PlayStation's using the AMD.
It was
side by side.
Doesn't the 4090 have 32 gigs of RAM in it just alone?
Yeah.
Look, trust me.
I mean,
if this is $700 and it can do what the 4090 can do, that is the greatest deal on the face of the planet.
He might be right though. But
Well,
it's not an apples to apples comparison. Like this has AI upscaling now. They're throwing in. They announced that. I don't think
it's
the 4090.
DSSR, but they just named it PSSR.
Oh, are you the RAM speed? Yeah, or the
Because isn't it PlayStation
even
Super Sampling
even
render
the
or
RAM
whatever?
speed? I think it was at the PS5 was at 1,000, then it moved up to 1,700 megs per second. I mean, there are things in there that yes, the 4090 I don't think can do, but it does. The 4090 doesn't need to cut corners and try to do that.
It just brute forces
someone
it.
Correct.
There was replies to it. Someone broke it down. The equivalent would be, he basically said no, and then broke down the equivalents because they basically took the PlayStation 5 baseline as this card.
But yeah,
and they're telling us it's X amount better. So they basically did the technical math and said it equates to like a 3070 or a 3080 4070 or 4060. 3070 4060 is what it equates to.
that's like saying, on a map, the 4090 goes this direction, and this, the PS Pro goes around this direction to kind of get there, and the 4090 doesn't take that direction. So
yeah, it just slams through it.
no, I kind of get what he was trying to say, but that was a kind of a dumb thing to say.
Yeah, not like if you could get a 4090 but if
That's the
if the
4090.
PlayStation could at $700, if the PlayStation could do what the 4090 could do, would your opinions on the price change?
I would just plug it into my PC.
Yeah, like
And have that be my off-board graphics card.
It's not doing what the 4090 is doing.
No, nothing. Not that 4090 is. I mean, you need a power plant to put that into your PC.
Yeah, it's a lot. So the other comment on Twitter that I thought was hilarious and just made me realize, I don't know how to say this nicely, how out of touch or
How dumb people are.
retarded IGN is.
IGN has some bad takes sometimes.
To be fair,
There's some people there that has some really good
I will
takes.
say, to be fair, IGN's video review formats have gotten a lot better on YouTube. I will say that.
No,
Yeah, to be fair,
they have
to be
some
fair.
good. There's some people there with some good takes, but there's some people.
This
there with some
article
bad
though
takes.
was a real flopper.
flippy flop.
Yeah, it was. PlayStation's price is $700 because Xbox gave them no
Yeah.
competition.
So I read that
and
article.
It was like,
so what they did was they took an analyst firm's quote and they tried to run it through their PlayStation bias goggles. That's what they did, because the analyst firm was not wrong. The analyst firm was basically saying that because Xbox is not creating an Xbox Pro, that PlayStation didn't feel the need. Part of the pricing is that there's no competition in the Pro space for them right now, so they didn't have to worry about overpricing it compared to an Xbox Pro, because there is no Xbox Pro. But the way the IGN are, but the analyst goes on to say that most of the price, there's what's it called? There's production costs. There's all these costs go into it, right? But that was just a part of the decision, but that wasn't the reason. IGN made it seem like that was the reason for it, or at least tried to allude.
that was their
allude to
clickbait
that.
title.
Yeah.
So, which was going everywhere on.
Lady B in chat. I have that.
Lady Blah
eyesight. Blah blah. It's
a great
the AI
name.
upscale thing, is that just software? Can they just patch that into the normal PS5? So there are much more smart people in the world than me. I try to figure out how like AI works and stuff like that. From what I understand, most of the machine learning requires a very specific chipset. And I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure.
And this new larger chip enables that.
Yeah, I would assume that this box can do AI like the previous PlayStation cannot do AI.
And would that be due to just, like you said, bigger GPU, more power?
More
computing. What do they say? They have 11 more computing.
I'm not sure.
Like
I think it's a language type question. Like that's AI machine learning
that's
stuff.
for the really smart people that work
That's
in
for Mark
office,
Cerny.
that work in offices with no windows.
Yeah, I need him to explain to me. But I know of from what I understand, there's a big push for making specific chips for next generation AI and stuff like that. That you know what I mean? Yeah.
Supply chains. That's the word I was looking for. Supply chain, worldwide, global supply chains is like a huge cost for PlayStation right now and for the PlayStation 5. And that's like the number one determinant of this $700
Well,
price point.
what's interesting is even some people mentioned it in our chat today. I've seen a lot of this on X or Twitter or whatever, but people were wondering if, and this is just like, speculation, if they're pricing it this way to test out what they could price the PS6 at.
Yeah, I don't think it's a test.
I don't necessarily think it's a test either. I put it this way:
you're paying $12 for eggs. Yes, of course, the price of your hardware, advanced hardware, is going to go up.
Eggs are that high?
Eggs are super expensive. Have you not been?
I have chickens.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's right. Yeah. Well, what about their feed? I bet you their feed's gone up.
I haven't. I don't think it has. I haven't bought eggs for like 5 years.
Eggs, milk.
Oh, dude.
Everything is. You want to know what a bag of Doritos costs? $6.29.
Yeah, that sucks.
That's right. That's straight from the manufacturer, folks, because it's printed on the bag. $6.29.
They do. They stamp it.
Yeah.
They want to make sure they know the price.
Yeah. And so if it's and that's like what 4 years ago. 4 years ago, that same bag of chips is like $2.99.
Yeah, I think I still have some past due bags in my.
Yeah.
There's a
And
reason
so if that's going up, of course, that's going to affect everything, especially your incredibly advanced hardware. Also, when Taiwan is under a duress and maybe threats of invasion of China, they make all the chips, everyone, all of the chips. And that's going to affect the cost of gaming.
So what are they? What does that mean for the new Xbox?
So
What's
think
the
of this.
price?
Well, that's a lot depends on how the economy, the global economy.
They
does.
can subsidize it because of Game Pass.
Well, what you're saying is we don't.
The hardware is subsidized.
What you're saying is we don't want China to take over Taiwan.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Although China did have a recent win with Wukong, we don't want them in Taiwan.
We don't. We want the economy to get better. We want food to get cheaper, and as a result, our gaming will get cheaper.
Dude, I eat so many eggs a day.
Yeah, isn't Taiwan like?
You guys want some? I have surplus.
That small little thing. Aren't they like basically the reason the American military functions because of all their chips and stuff that they put in?
Like
yeah, like it's
something like that.
That's a very important. Is
By the way,
Taiwan an island?
Have you ever had
island.
double yolked eggs?
Oh yeah,
No, because they're $7 an egg.
I had one for the first time. It's crazy.
No,
It
it's
blows
like
my mind.
It's like a
I thought you just meant like 2 eggs.
It's like one egg. It's one egg with 2 yolks.
It happens. Oh, and I've had I've had eggs that I feel so bad for the lady that laid it. They're like,
And you're like,
oh
whoa.
my gosh, this is not a lot. This is like 3 eggs.
You're like-
yes.
You're like, hey, I think I heard this one come out the other night.
It's like when 2 M&Ms are together to make the infinity M&M.
Infinity
It's like, it just puts you in a good mood. Like, I just got an extra egg.
Dude, double yolk eggs bloom. I never knew that was a thing, and it blows my mind. I had one.
Yeah, it happened. Obviously, it happened on accident, right? You just cracked it open. And you're like, oh,
I was watching,
pleasant.
Oh, no, you can buy double yolked eggs.
What?
Yeah.
How is it? Like, I just think it's like an anomaly with my ladies.
Oh, I'm sure there's some chemical you could give them to make it a permanent anomaly. Because I think that's what happened.
Oh man,
You can buy double yolked eggs. I had one. It's like, whoa.
some of those I like because we put them in like egg cartons that we've had over the years, right?
Yeah.
And
They
the
don't
one
fit.
like you can't even close the lid, and you're like, I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh, you poor thing. Here, have some extra worms and scratch.
Everybody, that does us for this week. Thank you very much for tuning in and hanging out. Right after this show is our members lounge. It's our members only show. It's only for members. So become a member. It's a good time. This show, we talk with each other. Occasionally, we'll talk to chat. We take super chats here. The members show, we interact directly with you. We have fun. We talk about the happenings of the day. Sometimes we get naked. It's a good time.
We want
join
them
us.
to come, David. We want them to show up.
They do. When I'm naked, everyone comes. See you guys.
I'm walking around, so far to find.